Claiming one more time for the umpteenth time, water and vibration are like somehow, some way, a battery in play, claiming see, proclaiming and disclaiming my claim has been to be the end times prophet. People are conditioned to hate the one who brings the testimony of Jesus Christ, which is the spirit of prophecy. I get it. My people who call me friends, we don't like it when you call yourself a prophet. I get it. But it's the testimony of Jesus in the conversation at last. So, with love from above, consistently, continuously, where the water is continuously divided. If you wore a mask recently, in the past, you are programmed to be wise in this world. You had to wear the mask. You had to go along to live in the system that has allowed you the leeks and the onions, because we live in a world where we know where we get paid. It's not much, but we can get that meal, fill our belly and live one more day, for at least for now. I got this new thing set up here, a new chair and stuff. So bear with me here. I gotta show you a couple of things here, like this thing for sure. You should be seeing a disclaimer of the fair use treatment. I don't have a lot of pictures. I do have some. That's yesterday. These are today. That's a burdock. Luther, I told you, look at that. Looks like a tobacco leaf. Wow. That's how everybody talks about how Hitler had this great idea and he told the people and they worked the economy. No, everywhere they went, they killed people, and they were even getting gold out of their teeth because they felt like they had to. And they had a connection, the Red Cross, I mean, the Red Shield, I mean, Switzerland banks were buying gold. What they would do is go into a town, go find out who had the safe deposit box, where were the guns and the gold. Man, what's this? Very often related to old, undigested, unexpressed sadness. That's where they want you to take the water as a memory, learn about the exclusion zone. Same with my Bible teachings and some of the other things, and same with the stones crying out. They want to take it to Atlantis. They don't want the Bible, but they're healthy. So it can also be conducted from a distance through the ether. Somehow, sometimes they just, for the lack of a better word, even though they are globist and everything, people love the Thunderbolt Project and the information we get about exclusion zone water. All cancers occur at plus 30 millivolts. So what you'll see here, I am not a doctor. There's your disclaimer. I'm not a financial expert, but I sure did pretty good when it came to understanding money. It's not that hard. Don't go in debt. But this is millivolts. Your electric battery, you know, I talk about that. These guys want to sell you stuff, but it's the same thing as the voltage goes back up. Because remember, he was thinking that all cancers occur. See, I've always said, I think all cancers occur when there's not enough oxygen in your blood, but that seems like an easy thing to take care of. This guy said, well, obviously the heart, it's the heart muscle battery pack. So nobody disagrees with me except about the stones are crying out. Biogeology was taught to Mike Stellium 7 by Do Re Mi. And it'd be the wonderful Christianity, except I'm like Amish. I want women to wear head covers. And that's a deal killer. Well, the Trinity isn't as bad as I want women to wear head covering. It's like the Mennonites, like the Amish, like the Anabaptists, like the people in other countries, everywhere but the United States, because I believe that's what the Bible teaches. But that is a deal killer. This world, look at the body's voltage system. The body has 4 battery packs. Our muscles are rechargeable battery packs. Our cell membranes are small batteries called capacitors. Inside the mitochondria, we have a rechargeable battery called ADP, ATP, ADP. Huh? Our DNA has its own battery using scalar energy, whatever that is. Portable electronic devices, like all electronic. Yep. We've been studying this since 2017. We knew it. So what does it take to make cells that work? You got to get your battery tuned right. And you can't do it. The most common toxins are mercury, dental toxins, GMO foods with the pesticide called Roundup, which contains glyphosate. Yawn, you've heard it all before, but when it comes right down to it, do you use it? You may use it. Save you some time. That weed will die in a couple of weeks, and instead of bending all the way over and pulling it up and having to do that in 2 weeks, I'll spray the poison on it. Chronic diseases only occur when we lose the ability to make new cells that work. Oh, wow, okay. This is nobody that's just a nobody. This is Dr. Jerry Tennant. Research the Cochrane Depression, Anxiety, Neurosis Controlled Trial Register. This register contains relevant report of randomized controlled trials. It seems like they got all kinds of proof. You are what you eat, but not really. And you know, there's people out there trying to tell you the Nephilims are clowns because he took mushrooms, and every time he did, entities came to talk to him. Entities came to talk to him and eventually warned him, stay away from the clowns, man. And then so he took it on himself to go, I wonder what those entities meant. Well, now he's against it, against what science is saying. You know what? Here's what works, because people are doing this. Veterans are doing this and this. And the world is going, you know what? We all got PTSD. So where's my Prozac with acetylsalicylic fluoridic acid as its active ingredient? I'm not a doctor, but these are new. These are new. These vortexes, huh? He said he never saw anything like it. It's like, what? Wow. Hey, I think that's it. No, look at this map. Even the borders, they even had, I mean, this looks small, but you can really zoom in on it. So there's Russian territory with the India. This is about India. India is a big deal. New boundary claimed by Russia. Everybody makes claims. I'm claiming there's a better way of dealing with this than having people come in going like, "Oh, I love the short season theology. Blimey, mate. Hey, Nephilims are evil gibbery. Trust the book of Enoch to interpret the Bible." So these guys did it. They sold heroin. Kandahar. Wow, my son was stationed right out here when they were bombing everybody, bagging and tagging them, killing those spies for Obama. Oh, this is the Purple Mountain Majesty? No, it's not. Blimey, look at those crystals. That's a body part. So the objective of the Republican nationalists and socialists at 1911, the Ming Dynasty, the Qing Dynasty, one lasted 4,000 years. The Qing, Qing, Qing Dynasty lasted 100 years, and it was racist. And when they came out, they said, "What do you mean we're not white?" Yeah. They distributed, their problem was these guys, China, came up with a plan where they were going to divide the land between all these people. They said, "You know what? We'd rather Mao have it so we could fight him than you try to solve problems." Matter of fact, how about another heroin war? Because two opium rebellions, a Boxer rebellion, they want to distribute land equally among the people. That's not going to happen in Satan's release time. The organization's goal was to expel the Tartar barbarians in 1911. Oh, don't rate me. Oh, you know what? You're going to see some weird comments and stuff. I just want you to ignore them, okay? I hope you didn't have to see that. Hey, just ignore those comments and stuff. This is all going back to a guy named Greg. It's no big deal. These things will work themselves out. I'm disclaiming everything about the suicide, the medicines. I'm not a doctor. I don't even know how to get this camera here to stop being weird. Because I can't put it on if I had the camera up here, like where it normally be, it'd be like this, Look like Whitney Webb in her old videos where she's always looking up like that. Not that I appreciate Whitney's Webb relentless pursuit of the Jeffrey Epstein thing. Remember when I came to Adams State, how glib, how, let's go get him. I was like, yeah, I might as well move to there because that's the area of the San Juans that I think will be safe. I want to be an elder there. And I might as well expose Beverly McClure and why she was promoted to be president of Adams State University because of Bill Richardson, frequent flyer on the Lolita Express. Yeah, I'll go do that. Didn't even realize it's like, wow, I wonder what type of demonic powers and principalities are hanging out there. Wow, did I find out they were, oh, you want to expose us? How about jail? How about being broke? How about but I did find out they can legally lie to you. It worked out, but it was not as easy as what I think. I'm going to stick to women should cover their hair. Men should get ready to practice peace, not violence. The VA is not really our friend. Donald Trump's not really your friend. So I searched something, and here's the thing. One dose, it says simply one dose of magic mushroom compound eases depression. That's from June 17th of this month. Half a decade after receiving psychedelic treatment, 2/3 of the new studies say, no, I'm good. Well, they're only releasing it now because, the Prozac and everything else is wearing out. The United States is going to be throwing money at problems until China or Russia takes over, either one. But We owe too much money for this to go on forever. One dose can treat people. Psychedelics may help cancer with the cancer depression. Single dose, 5 years of depression. No, no, don't take it. Don't help the PTSD people because the devil wears clouds in the Gibberine and Nimrod. Forget the fact that God calls himself the Gibberine God, the mighty God. And most of the time, Gibberine is used. It 99% of the time means that's a good guy. It's good. You want to be a Gibberine. You want to be mighty. It, if you're tall, it's usually a benefit. Psilocybin treatment for major, February, previous study, researchers show it, but oh no, you can't sell it if you want a woman to wear a head covering like a Mennonite or an Amish and show what? I mean, it's a mission like the Bible says? No way. Yeah, we know these people. They don't know anything. This is the pulp fiction, National Enquirer. Is what they say. Don't trust it. I say, what are the other studies? What's going on here? This is my algorithm. Did you hear about this one?
Anyways.
Multiple firefighters shot to death. A man started a fire, drew him in so he could kill him. We got a weird world going on where the answer is what?
Just a little update here from the sheriff's department. Let me just show you this real quick. They said there's still a fire going on. There is still an active wildfire on Canfield Mountain. Local residents should be prepared and ready in the event that the situation escalates. Please continue to follow official sources for accurate information.
I think this is in that part there by the border. So it's a
now I got
the Wild West. Yep. Coeur
Hang on a minute.
d'Alene. I've been there. Didn't get shot up. Right on the border. Mud Flood Central. Big lake there.
There we go. We'll leave that up on the screen for you.
Right by the Spokane.
A moment here.
So that's weird. What else is in my algorithm? But this is my algorithm. You watch one old movie and they think all you want to do is watch old movies just to decode stuff. Old railroads. It doesn't bother me that these are, theories that I have. All these people. I mean, this guy, he's good. The Opium Wars. I've been studying that, so it's going to come up. The rat lines, how they got the Nazis survived through the Red Cross and the YMCA and the Roman Catholic Church. Just check out this spot. Who even knows what?
And the Chinese had foolishly left the place virtually unguarded.
What?
Allied troops quickly captured the arsenal and found it packed to the rafters with modern weapons, ammunition, and food.
Isn't that the way it goes? Isn't it always convenient like that? Here's it looks like this is the part people rewind to watch over again. Wow, they look like in the Navy.
Cut the fuses. The attacks were cancelled. The Americans alone had taken over 140 casualties during the day's fighting. At 3:30 a.m. on the 14th of June, a Japanese volunteer...
You understand, they're fighting China. They're fighting Japan in China for the right to sell heroin. And they get free weapons. It's looting, opium wars, plural. It's not even the Boxer Rebellion. But it from the very corporations, the British West Indies, the Dutch East Indies, what's that? The VOC, the first corporation. So it's right there by Spokane. And that is some mysterious country there. How you could even get a railroad built there. Everything's canyons and winding rivers. Here's a Bible verse. I know everybody's just like, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I'll make myself like Elion. It didn't work out. Let's go down. This ends kind of after all that's over. It says, prepare slaughter for his sons because of the guilt of their fathers, lest they rise and possess the earth and fill the face of the world with cities. Well, now that Satan's loose, we know what he's doing, and he's filling the cities with the world and making them into nations. This part of it goes on. That was about Nineveh, taunt of Babylon, oracle concerning Philistia. Now, the end of this. Wail, O gate, cry for pity, melt in fear, O Philistia, all of you, for smoke comes out of the north, and there is no straggler in his ranks. What will one answer the message of the nation? The Lord has founded Zion, and in her the afflicted of his people find refuge. Well, that's what they did then. Let's see what verse 26, because when you see something that says, this is the purpose, that is purpose concerning the whole earth, we should look at it. And this is the hand that stretched out over all the nations. For the Lord of hosts has purposed, and who will annul it? His hand is stretched out, and who will turn back? Break the Assyrians in my land. As I have planned, so it shall be. Still waiting for people to, come with me now. And let's talk about these verses where it says, in that day, there will be a highway from Egypt to Assyria, and Assyria will come into Egypt, and Egypt into Assyria, and the Egyptians will worship with the Assyrians. In that day, Israel will be the third with Egypt and Assyria, a blessing in the midst of the earth, whom the Lord of hosts has blessed, saying, blessed be Egypt, my people, and Assyria, the work of my hand, and Israel, my inheritance. We'll love to talk about those someday. Kill this man's children, let them die because of their father's sin. They must not rise and conquer the earth, filling the world with their cities, fill the face of the world with cities. I wonder if there's cities like Populous? No. I'm looking for what verse was it? I want to see the word cities. Aram. So it's used a lot. settled in cities. They stopped building the Tower of Babel. Let us build a city, a star fort, and a tower. I'm going to just take a second here. Look at that. 1,000 uses. We only care if it's used in Habakkuk or Nahum. So I had to do that. It's a lot, I know. Looks like most of them are used in the Pentateuch. Okay. So polis doesn't have any connection with Aram. I should try to prove that. Because I'm looking for polis. Come on, this Bible Hub is not as intuitive as one would hope. Okay. An overflowing flood. In that day, cut down, though I have afflicted you. All right, let's go to the second chapter, the destruction of Nineveh. Behold, the shield of his Gibborim men is red. His soldiers are clothed in scarlet. Chariots come with flashing metal on the day he musters them. Cypress spears are brandished. Chariots race madly through the streets, rush to and fro through the squares, gleam like torches. They dart like lightning. Wow. Siege towers. Palace melts away, slave girls lamenting, moaning like doves, Nineveh like a pool, desolation and ruin. Huh. So that's what's coming here to Nineveh. Woe to the bloody city. Are you better than Thebes that's set by the Nile with water all around her, her rampart, the sea, the water, her wall? It's a star fort. City. Is there any polis? I guess not. Ear, the name of the city. Huh. I wonder what Thebes is. Art thou better than populace? No. That's where it's funny. I love the King James Version. I read it for 25, 30 years. Art thou better than populace? No. That was situated among the rivers that had the waters. It was a star fort, baby. Populace, no. Art thou better than no? It was the name of a town. Huh. Well, there you go. Whole lot of mystery going on here. But anyway, I want you to remember it's Isaiah 14:26. Everyone, like myself, associates Isaiah 14 with the description of the Satan's fall from the heaven. You know, it's like, wow, your prompt brought you down. You're fallen from heaven. But what is that? 21 is 26 is right there. This is the purpose that is purpose concerning the whole earth, that this is the hand that is stretched out over all the nations. So we're supposed to consider Satan, you know, he's in charge. He wants to be like the most high. It's a water world, right? It's something like that. And, you know, again, we talked to this guy. RJ's my witness. We did this. It was like we taught him, and they're going to take it. We can't be surprised when people, him, Michelle Gibson, the other people that paraded through, Artis, Xerxes, every people just come through and tap me out and go, yeah, I'll take it from here. This is all true, though. It changed my
all of these are just broken pieces of everything you've just been seeing. And the whole region, every single mountain, going up as far as it can go until it gets too steep, have these terraces. So that the mainstream story is that this is formed through water erosion, and I think that that's absolutely impossible. You can see also how biological looking this is. This is unbroken, and when the chunks are broken, you can see this edge is kind of fragmented and sharp, but
It's right. And I never understood what he's showing Owen Benjamin for, but you know, and he's right in that area of where that shooting is. And I hope those guys are safe because I think that the new laws that are going to be passed after this, I'm not saying it's a false flag. I'm not saying it's not. I'm saying something's going to change, and these people are in trouble, man. They're going to be connected, I think. But it's only my opinion. Hey, look, they're in Rumble.
he and Owen had a stream a couple of days ago that was hilarious. I recommend it. They covered all kinds of different topics, but they also happened to mention my work. So shout out to.
And I don't care what he says or if they're tired of hearing it. He used to admit I taught him it. He doesn't anymore. It's all become his work, his thing. Like he wanted to be the Prince Hacker. People want to be something, but they're never going to be Flat Earth Nation, Golden Age past. Hey, the mud flood was Armageddon. You'll never be that person.
The amazing Topher Gardner and Owen Benjamin, also amazing in his own right. So let's see here. Turn this up.
Or Hermuz, they're the world's #1 producer of urea.
Dude, the way synchronicities have worked, like the last one was 4 hours, 44 minutes, 44 seconds. And for some reason, we just had all this energy and then we landed the plane. It was right at the solstice,
Summer solstice
in Florida. It was 10:53 p.m. was the peak energy of the whole year where we were geographically. And we didn't know any of that shit. And so it's been a pretty magical week. So what if like the piss talk is because they're about to cut off all the urea?
It's totally, I'm telling you, that I saw this last night at like 10 o'clock. And when they were talking about when Iran gets cut off, the world's fertilization, because they produce the most amount of urea for fertilization.
Dude, remember when Trump was in trouble?
The urea is pee, right? They're talking about pee.
For having women piss on him in Russia?
No.
What if he was doing piss treatments?
I bet you he's the one who wrote his own book. Like,
Just to put.
Wow, I should have screened this.
Dude, there's some Omega Bears that there's some of my favorite people. Ben, a cabin in the woods guy, like definitely. Yeah. He goes, he forms a cult.
now that you say that, because
Anyway, every word, thought, and deed is going to go before everybody's going to know. He learned this from me, but he doesn't like Jesus. And even the ones that do like Jesus don't want to tell women to cover their hair. It's not in the Bible. There's still a Trinity. I could go to the Mars.
Kind of a major cataclysm. So if the great trees were a thing and they were, taken out and petrified, there's lots of ancient texts that talk about, cities under the Sahara. So something happened there, and whatever happened was big. And
right. So this is how they leave the Bible out. They're all happy. They're just so happy.
the cave wall, you can see the identical similarities to both of them. Now, could this cave just have been a digestive tract of
Yes, absolutely. So let's look at, the people that were forced to do heroin. These people, Russian troops during the Boxer Rebellion. What do you mean you don't want to keep buying the heroin? We'll make you buy the heroin. We have 8 nations that says, China, you will buy the frickin' heroin. We're going to attack you. And they did. We took them over and taught them a lesson they'll never forget. They call it the century of shame, where they didn't like the fact that they wanted to treat people equal and didn't want people to sell heroin in their country. So they got their asses kicked because Japan was ready to kick their ass anyway. PG-13, I guess. It's coming to a town near you. It was a star fort, baby, but they found it. They claimed it. It's mine now. Yeah, they had 8 nations alliance. What for? Why? Military coalition invaded northern China with the stated aim of relieving foreign legations in Beijing that were besieged by the popular Boxer militiamen, a secret society that didn't want drugs, or maybe they wanted their cut. Who knows? But they had no treaty, but they bound together, battled them, kicked their ass, pushed the king government to support the Boxers, and then overthrew them. Goodbye. Get out. It's heroin. It's going to be about heroin, atrocities. You know it. You've heard about the rape of Nanking. But they were basically getting the gold-plated Buddhas, marking them down, selling them off. That's how you do it. They finished off these books. 2,100 scholars that were during the 4,000-year period, they destroyed them. They were partially destroyed in the Second Opium War. They were finished off in the 1900s. Completely destroyed by the 8-nation alliance. It sounds like they had a plan and they stuck to it. Who needs these books explaining that it was probably, a non-Trinitarian church and they wanted to go kill them? Qing dynasty reached its peak in the 1700s. In the 1800s, they got taken over. It was the scramble for China. They were planning it. Then they got 8 nations and said, let's go get it. And the United States said, we seem to be left out of the scramble for Europe. No, you're not. Look, you're right there. Colombia. Well, Colombia could be Brazil and all the other ones that worship Colombia, and Mexico, and everyone that Argentina that wears it. That's not the United States. Okay, whatever. We'll give you something. I'm sure they said, because it was the great game. Zip back up to the top. It was the rivalry between British and Russia. They had the same mommy, right? Weren't they brothers? The king of Russia, the king of Britain, the king of Germany, they were all related somehow, some way. They had to get rid of the Tartars. Everything is like written by the computers. to fill in the blanks of Satan's short season. All we know is it's the Rosicrucians, the secret societies, the Jesuits. Be prepared for backstabbery, oil. Ridiculous to burn oil when there's other, but they do it. Dalai Lama. This is a weird picture. What is the platform for? Nematodes, tsetse flies, still places on Earth today you cannot go. And they're still fighting the same war. That was armistice in 1919. Armistice. It wasn't a win. So what is this? The third coalition participants. Kind of weird map of the United States, huh? First French Empire in green. United States sold this to the, come on, man. It looks like they had it going on. Or at least that's what they claim. Satan's loose. They're going to build cities. They've got it all figured out. There's Napoleon, Augsburg, Germany, World War I, World War II, World War reset. People starting fires, drawing cops in. It's on. And the Bible's out there. Now they say there's a new great game. That's what this one here. Seems like we take turns invading Afghanistan to protect where the heroin's still grown today. In the meantime, veterans are dying by their own hand. And, their idea of helping people is calling up and saying, hi, are you having thoughts of killing yourself today? Every time you call the VA, every time you get transferred, hi, having thoughts of suicide today? It's like calling up, like if you're overweight, going calling the, Overeaters Anonymous going, hey, Tubby, are you overeating today? Don't worry, you can't do anything to stop it. They're setting us up. It's because these stats don't lie. They're, even if it's, what is it, 40 a day? So that's 17 and 22. And how many people, are they waiting to take their turn? Are they happy until then? But I know that most of these people are being treated with medicines that some doctors do not agree with. But we've all been masked up. We're all trained to go down that road and realize these things it's not good. Traumatic brain injuries. I think there's better ways of treating them. And we still have people that I think are not helping themselves by taking a new theology, a new way of reading the Bible. That's all I ever wanted. Flat Earth Nation, Golden Age past, read the book of Revelation right. It's still what people hear within, when I'm witnessing, which is most of the time when I meet new people, I tell them, yeah, I'm here to expose the Lolita Express and teach the Bible because this is a safe place I want people to move to. This isn't something I keep under the cover of darkness. This is life and death to me.
15% off discount for the 8-week Retrain Your Brain program. Just take I chose the latter. And so, as I was thinking about how to try to get well, I realized that if I could figure out how to make one cell work, I should be able to make them all work. So I bought some cellular biology books, which I hadn't read in about 30 years. And something jumped out. I think I bought 10 books, and each one of them had something that talked about that cells had to run at a pH of 7.35 to 7.45. Well, I didn't know a lot about pH, but as I'll show you in a moment, pH is all about voltage in a liquid. I said, oh, cells need voltage to work. That makes sense. They have to have some energy. And that started me on down the road that I'm about to discuss with you, is you end up with a malignancy. And so let's see how the malignancy situation works. So the theory that malignancies are caused by mutated genes was proposed by Boveri in 1902. And so that's been the theory upon which cancer has been treated since then. So with that idea that genes mutate for
Did I mention I'm not a doctor? Neither are any of the moderators.
some unknown reason, make cells grow rapidly, and we call that cancer. We use surgery to go in and cut out the tumor and throw it away, or we give drugs or chemicals that destroy
That sounds pretty straightforward. That's what they do.
survival.
Wow.
And so the real issue is, if you're going to deal with any of these issues, that you have to deal with the voltage and the oxygen. So again, what I find is that there's only one pathway to chronic disease, and it all begins with flipping polarity in your battery pack.
Oh, so there you go. I want you all to go to Amazon and buy your battery pack polarity flipper.
With Brewer's work, you flip.
Oh, wait, these guys have all kinds of things for sale. They really do.
Only work. Even taking the ordinary mRNA vaccines, I mean, okay, we talk a lot about the spike protein.
Yep.
But it doesn't matter really, because any mRNA, especially if it's got the pseudo-uridine in it to make it hang around for who knows years, ages, it's going to produce, we know from the lipid nanoparticles, it's going to go everywhere.
Yep.
It's going to go into cells everywhere. Those cells everywhere are going to produce the antigen that's going to go onto the surface of those cells.
So this is a man that makes movies. He made a movie about this guy who, I guess he's a PhD that was kind of on board. And of course, there's Nikola Tesla in the background. Their science is still go to the moon, but warn the people. I'm not a doctor. Neither are you.
Some will be released humorally, but others will be adhered to the cell.
So anyway, the man in the shirt says he's vaccine injured.
And the immune system's going to beat up on it regardless of what the antigen is. So whether it's a measles or a mumps or a rabies or a, I don't know, an influenza, doesn't matter. That's still a foreign protein that will be on the surface of the cells that our immune system is going to attack. The way this technology is working now, it's fundamentally flawed, and I would say fundamentally dangerous, and yet we're carrying on with it. And to me, the only way that that can work is if the information is controlled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That the side effects are controlled and the information is censored. And I suppose you could argue that control of information, that lack of free speech, is even more alarming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's what's happening in the UK now. I mean, well, what's it like in Canada in terms of do people self-censor or?
Absolutely.
Well, yes, they are, because the doctors are self-censoring, aren't they?
My own. Sure. I went to see my own doctor, and I was okay. Now I'm going to tell him that I made a film about this, and my doctor traditionally is pretty good. He's very slow to give us antibiotics or medicine. Really, he's like see me as few times a year or whatever. Like, stay healthy, stay away from me. But with this, I showed him the film and I said, please come to a screening. And he said, yeah, I've been starting to hear some things about this. And that shocked me because I was like, you're not at the front line of hearing everything and connecting. He was just in passing.
Right.
That he was just like, I'm starting to hear some things about this. And I was, wow, I was floored by that. So it's a black
Couple
hole of
minutes.
information here because just nobody's asking for it. And if nobody's asking for it, they're not going to share it.
And it's controlled. You know, the peer-reviewed literature
Yeah.
is compromised in ways that it's never been in my lifetime before.
Yeah.
Or certainly not that I've been aware of. I mean, no, it is a new phenomenon. It's not that I've just become aware of it. You know, that there is more control of the fundamental core narratives of science. They did what they were told. They did what they were asked to do. They complied with the system. They've become injured.
Move on.
Yeah.
If you are vaccine injured or a child that has been killed by a vaccine or a parent or an aunt or something, it's not over.
Correct. And as well as that, there needs to be some. I mean, the dead can't speak for themselves.
They can't.
You know, they are entitled to having a voice. There needs to be some kind of accountability. You get these elites going around making these arrogant decisions, and people suffer. And
These guys did it.
Families grew
They
wealthy.
did it.
The bosses
It was how they
outnumbered
made
CEOs,
money.
and the guns largely stayed under the table. Carlo Gambino always kept an ear to the ground, especially in Palermo. When word came that Lucky Luciano was making moves after returning from the States, Gambino wanted details.
Now, he was let out of prison because only the mafia could keep the unions working and the docks safe in New York. He was let out of prison. The mafia helped lead the invasion of Sicily, and they were well paid for it to this day.
What he heard surprised him. Even after years inside, Luciano was still the same. A man with a taste for women, a hunger that came right after a plate of food. I first set eyes on Igea before Christmas 1947, Luciano later said. Some moments stay with you
It's
forever.
dramatized, that's for sure.
Tommy Lucchese too. Chicago mostly kept its hands clean, though a few of their crews ran side operations. In Florida, Santo Traficante was already buried in it. So was...
These guys fighting among themselves had to find a way to make money. And in the meantime,
Well, and I think you take a very measured approach in your videos, and you cite evidence that you believe points to the fact that giants did once roam this earth. And given that thesis, I would like to just read this verse from the Bible, First Chronicles.
and I don't care if you guys are tired of me saying he learned this from me. You need to be telling people he learned this from me, and they changed it to let's go to Atlantis. Maybe it's trees, maybe it's bricks, anything but the Bible.
To the question that I'm going to be answering or attempting to answer in the next video that I'm working on right now, I believe that ultimately that if it's not something biblical, it's interesting that you started with the Bible there. I'm not a Christian, and I didn't come at this from a creationism standpoint at all.
You'll get there, my friend. You'll get there. I promise you.
I was just curious.
You will get there. Just read the first book of Genesis and then compare and contrast that to the New World Order story that we were all given as kids going through public schools, that it all happened by way of a big bang. We're just an accident. Nothing could be
so from a biblical perspective, you've got obviously something like the glittering sword. You've got
that's me. He got that from me.
Talking about
because it's true.
Apocalypses in the flat Earth community. I'd like to keep it more to mainstream geology and potential explanations that could be found in science, and so
which is actually good, by the way, because now I've just played my cards as a Christian. You know that my worldview is maybe not the same.
Some of the examples of them. I mean, to a skeptic, they're going to look at it and think I've picked out a and I recognize and but it's still
Yeah, I showed you these. What is this?
Subscribe.
This is a
Boxes,
giant's
animal
heart
bones,
that's
and
opened
even
up.
manipulating
It's
water.
a stone
And
reserved in judgment. This is a stone, and this is the top of its heart. Of course, it's going to open up. A trivalve opens up, it flaps open, and then it's flapped shut. That's what it is. These pictures, you know, they were all for a reason. That, you know, these are back the things that I showed. You know, the tunnels are always going to be like this. This is the big deal. Right here, 9/11. But let me find the how do you get somebody to believe it? Well, you show them the pictures and say, this was in a stone. I started with the stone and brought it down and showed that it was a body part, that it couldn't be anything else, that we are living stones. The Erie Canal, my first videos, Oklahoma City, the kit houses, the people who went to live in the mountains and said, oh, hide us from the wrath to come. And they lived pretty decent lives, I think, away from the hustle and bustle of trying to keep a 401k or a Roth IRA, because the Stones are crying out in many different ways that they knew they were body parts. They carved these. Sometimes you just have to go out and walk and find them. And, you know, I convinced myself, and I think the rest is like, it's going to be there. But these stones, you can't deny it. Why would you want to deny it? Again, with the secret societies from the very beginning, the fall of Satan, it's all right there. It's not going to change. But what we need to do is show steadfast love. Not, you know, we're going to receive persecution. We're going to be warning people that they want to cook and eat you. So you're going to have to let a lot of things go. Keep the main thing, and that is it's a flat earth nation. The golden age is past because the mud flood was Armageddon. That explains the whole 1,000 years that were added to it. It explains everything, the glittering sword, the melted buildings, the orphan trains, the mafia, the Jesuits, the Trinitarian Roman Catholics putting up with the Trinitarian Protestants. As long as they're Trinitarian, they're ready for an ecumenical movement. Well, I'm not. And I hope that my friends aren't either. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha. Arrivederci. Ciao. Sayonara. Auf Wiedersehen. Nakamain. Adios. That's how I like to say goodbye.